Well, howdy, partners. Welcome on back to the MOM Trading Post. I got great new deals for you. Actually, I got to clear out the inventory a little bit, make some room. I got a new thing doing some manufacturing. Don't worry about it. Anyways, well, we got some old friends back from their little missions. We'll see what happened with that. And maybe a new friend joining us. I don't know. Let's find out. Kevin, take us away.
Hello, and welcome. It's nearly Halloween, and some of us apparently did not get the message. Apparently, only one of us did, in fact. That's okay. We will work around this. We are voice actors. We will do Halloween voice style. Let me just shut up and start talking.
Those things, that's not...
It doesn't parse, I know. I'm just setting the tone for the rest of the night so we lower their expectations.
I'm sorry.
How low can you go?
Well, we can go lower, but let's start at least at the mid-ground.
I had a boyfriend like that.
We'll start there then. He's starting next to me. Ex-boyfriend, wife in the next room and all. We have Ryan playing Baptiste. Next in line, we have Hannah playing Miss Ellie. Way down there at the end, we have a face that's usually way over here at this end of this row. The mighty and wonderful Puck, Lord of Chaos, who is visiting us tonight in the form of Colonel Willie, and we will get to him shortly. And then they're here so often we don't make them walk up the stairs to the second level of boxes. From Sunday night's game, Sarah playing Miss Alice, and from Monday night's game, the world's poutiest warlock, played by Sky, tonight playing the world's toughest cowboy who will not stick his bottom lip out at us at all because it wouldn't be in character. Sky playing Jet. You'll notice we're one Undertaker short this evening. He's actually off scaring the hell out of children for money. So
I think we just leave it at that.
Living the dream.
We can't all get the dream jobs.
You can just leave it at that.
So I will have all of you please take 3 chips from the pile and put them on your sheet while I tell the folks what happened last time we were here. So, start it all off with Jet. Jet got to see spirits argue. And it kind of broke him a little bit, and he had to have a nap. He woke up from said nap and had a conversation with Baptiste, who gave him an option on how said sir wanted to deal with the harrowed doctor that he had decided to follow because he didn't quite trust. Back in town, Miss Alice chatted with an odd blacksmith, yet another person in this town with at least 2 accents. Very strange group of people, this bunch. Miss Ellie and Lucius investigated what can only be called a confusion. There were giant footprints, blasts of steam that had removed evidence from the scene, and a half a block destroyed by a chain sword and something shooting jellied gasoline, or kerosene, I guess it would be. There's also a mountain full of toxic rock just outside of town that's on fire. Alan Campbell, the nice man who hired you at the very beginning of this whole thing, is stuck in the rock in that cave in the sort of Han Solo coming out of the carbon thing. From his eyes and mouth are spewing forth great quantities of ghost rock smoke, which is bad for the environment and your lungs and your mind. That same mine is the location of an obsidian outline of the engine of that train, the Hell train, that burst out of this constantly changing mine, crashed down the hill, burned a bunch of the countryside, and is now sitting still ticking quietly to itself as it cools off from its crash 4 days ago when this all started. So did I mention the mountain is full of ghost rock and on fire? I think I did. Yeah. So that's what you missed if you missed last week. And so you guys should go and watch that immediately after watching this so that this all makes sense.
Pretty
with
normal
that
stuff. Pretty standard. I think we've all been
it's, sort of, it's just another Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean,
No rest for the wicked, and they're all wicked. They know. And with that, let's go down this rabbit hole back to our very own poisoned paradise, where we are going to start out in the wilderness. Colonel Willie, these damn wolves have been following you for 3 days. They're way smarter than most wolves. They stay just out of range, except when they come into range to tempt you to shoot. It's like they're smart enough to try to get you to use up your ammunition. Last night they got your horse. So today you're walking. Oh, and damn those old bones, but you twisted your knee about an hour ago. And they can feel it, and they're starting to close in.
This ain't the first rough trip for Willie.
It may not be, but you are almost out of ammo. Your horse is gone. There's a town around here somewhere, damn it. Almost made it. You look around and there's half a dozen of these mangy, nasty wolves. And you're trying not to look too close because some of them have got skin ripped off, and where they should be bleeding, they're not.
Some bad wolves. All
One
right.
of them steps out of the ring around you and starts to close and snarl.
All right. Well, I ain't wasting no ammo. I pull my saber.
You draw your saber and the wolf quizzically tilts its head at you and lets loose with a howl. And you hear and feel the ones that are behind you because they're in a circle around you starting to close.
All right. I'm going to keep my saber out and keep my eye on this wolf, and I'm going to cautiously move towards this town. I'd be like, I'll be goddamned if Colonel William One-eyed Weston is going to die in the woods to some mangy, half-skinned wolves. You best
And
be
you
thinking
start-
otherwise.
And you start to work your way towards where this town has got to be. And
All
you're
right.
working and you're working. And that one just keeps getting closer and closer and closer. And finally, it looks at you again, tilts its head, and lunges directly at you.
All right. I'm going to swing.
Okay, go ahead and give me a attack with that sword.
Sword swing.
All right. So for anybody watching the damage, I've changed this. So it's all one button push now. So right across the bottom there, that first roll, he rolled 7-14 right leg, which may not make a lot of sense to you. The 7 is the to hit roll. That's your attack roll. The 14 is the amount of damage that it did divided by the size of the creature. That'll be how many wounds it does. And the right leg is pretty self-explanatory. That's where it's doing that damage. You slash forward with your sword as it leaps towards you, and you catch its right front leg.
Okay.
And it almost comes off. You cut a huge chunk of meat off of it, and you see the bone underneath shatter. And it lands in front of you on 3 legs, and it goes to put weight on that 4th leg, and that leg collapses underneath it, and it looks up at you and howls again. This time it's not calling in friends. This time it's just angry.
Well, you quit your belly ache and you done brought this on yourself now.
Baptiste, you hear a howl. And then a couple seconds later, another howl. They're not that far away. You were following the dock, but these wolves are hunting.
Well, I'll rein up Rebecca and head towards them howls. And I'll pull my rifle off from the holster that's alongside my saddle.
Absolutely. And you... Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You would think Baptiste would notice the eccentricities of day and night, but what time of day is it?
It is late afternoon at this point. Middle afternoon.
Fantastic.
So plenty of light coming down through the forest for you guys to see by. This wolf collapses at your feet, backs off half a step, and goes to bite at you again. What would you like to do?
Oh, well then. I mean, if it's going to bite at me again, I'm going to stab it some more.
Okay, so you swing again with the saber?
Some more cuts. I mean, it's better on horseback, but
Yep.
I've lost my horse.
I saw
I've got
Quick
another
draw?
one. Oh,
Yeah, so you're snapped into. You can't see anything ahead of you quite yet, but you.
Then
the
never
rifle
mind.
is out and ready to go.
Mr. Puck, it's all you.
all right then.
So it sort of stands up on its own weight again, and you think, well, okay, let's do this. You take out the other front leg.
We're going to be
Down
a
it goes
fur
again.
sausage when I'm done.
And it drops to the ground in front of you. The other ones start to close in, and you're thinking to yourself, maybe this is. And then a shot rings out.
Oh,
I'm not going to make you guys roll this out. A couple of shots ring out of the dark or out of the daylight, and you sort of look around behind you, and you see two of them that were almost on you from behind. One drops, and then the other.
oh,
Inspired by this, you drive your saber forward into the leader of this, right into the chest, and pull it out. And you would expect to be covered in this warm spray of gore, but all that comes out is a little bit of ooze out of the chest wound when you pull it back. But it does drop dead at your feet, and the other three or four sort of turn and start to head into the trees.
Can I, if I may, at that last minute, one that starts to walk away, almost eerily at your side, there's a tall, thin figure that reaches forward and squeezes a shot off that kills one of those wolves. Marshal Kevin, if that's allowed.
Absolutely. Yep.
What color is this soldier's uniform? Blue or gray?
it's blue.
Not bad for a Yankee.
Sir, that's Colonel Yankee to you. And I thank you kindly for your assistance. It's nice to see some civilized gentlemen out here in the woods while I'm having my afternoon walk.
And there's a very nice carved peacemaker, worth more than both of our horses combined, with blue glowing knotwork in it, steaming.
Oh.
And he holsters it and holds his hand out and says, "Why, Colonel Yankee."
Colonel Willie. William One-eyed Weston, if you please, sir. And who might you be?
Well, Father Saint Laurent. And if you don't recognize me any further, we'll leave it at that.
Well, Father, I appreciate you coming out and assisting me, man of God that you are.
Well,
Mind pointing me towards town?
I believe that the town we may both be heading towards is right this away. And it's unsettling how quickly this guy who's maybe 60, maybe 90, hops on this horse that's 19 hands high.
You're fairly spry for a man your age.
Calisthenics, my young man. Calisthenics.
Or perhaps you can give me some pointers once we get on back to town now. I believe I shall walk. It is not befitting of a gentleman to ride another man's horse. I shall see you there.
And he just kind of goes and Rebecca trots at a comfortable walking pace.
So you are from around these areas?
No. We are quite away from Savannah, but I am familiar with the surrounding territory.
Ah. So have there always been such persistent wildlife in the area?
I have found that there are wilder things, farther west we roam.
Well, sir, I've seen some unusual things in the war. Perhaps I'll see something even more unusual out on this. Maybe I'll put it in my memoirs.
And actually, at the as friendly as this has been, soldier to soldier, at the mention of the war, things get a little cold, and he looks forward and he says, "Yes, well, haven't we all?" And a good couple of hours pass in silence.
All right.
And I just want to mention, in case it slipped earlier, Baptiste has. Do you wear the collar? I know you wear the stole.
Collar, stole.
So
you cannot mistake him for his vocation.
Okay, then absolutely. Yeah, I just wanted to make absolutely sure that is the case.
Very much like this.
Just like we see it there.
Yep, just like that. Just confirmation of the scene. So, in that uncomfortable silence, the two of you make your way back first to the road where you had an experience with Jet. Found him sleeping on the side of the road, in fact, and woke him up to have him vaguely remember a conversation he overheard between the doctor, or the being that is in the doctor, and what you concluded must be something very much like that being that Jet seems to know on a personal level. You didn't give him the name, right? You didn't tell him that her name was Raven? No. But you did imply that there was a conversation, right?
Cat.
No?
To be honest, I was super vague. So
okay,
I don't.
Okay, so there you go. He was super vague. There we go. That's the technical phrase I was looking for. But as you guys get back to the road, Baptiste, you see, because you're up on horseback, you've got the better perspective. Not far down the road from where Jet was, there's a woman's body lying in the ditch. Properly laid out, arms across chest.
You're muted.
Trying to think of how to ask this question. Does Baptiste see it or sense it first?
You see it first, which is odd, because you should have sensed it first.
So he reins up Rebecca and hops up off the horse, and I'm assuming to the soldier will notice. And if my assumption's wrong, he pulls the left pistol, is not left-handed, pulls the left pistol out and just looks back.
Just because I know it's like somebody else was playing Baptiste last week. Which one is the left one?
The left is not the glowy one.
Okay. Because in your stead, Baptiste offered Jet the choice of how he was to deal with the doctor when he found her. And he did so by showing the butts of the revolvers.
Oh.
And Jet chose forgiveness.
So then, yeah, we'll say forgiveness. Forgiveness is the black one, which is not glowy.
Right.
And which is glowy, and redemption is the white one, which is not glowy. Okay. So he has a white pearl-handled pistol in his hand and looks back at the Yankee.
Willie, seeing you produce your weapons, unsheathes his Winchester 76 rifle and prepares to shoot. We got trouble here, Father?
I certainly hope not. Rebecca, cover. And Rebecca actually lays down in the middle of the street so you can actually hunker down behind her.
Yep.
And fire over the saddle.
Sir, I appreciate the effort, but I will be cold in the ground before I take shelter behind another living creature. Now I will move forward with you.
Well, despite the fact that you fought for the wrong side in the war of northern aggression, that is the actions of a right gentleman. And I guess they walk forward together.
We shall
blue and a
leave
gray,
politics
walking
for
up
the
the road,
battlefield, sir.
guns drawn at a common enemy.
The war in the South was definitely against slavery, and it was wrong.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Back into the game.
Then back to the game.
But he does just have the one. He does just have the one.
Yeah.
And is well aware. He's waiting for something to go badly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Willie's
24
picking up on the tense, the tension in the situation. He's like, "Oh, great! What? I gotta shoot now."
I will just point out that 21 minutes into the game, we have solved the Civil War.
Done.
Just
Thank God,
so
folks.
everybody knows. The blue and the gray walking down the road towards this body in the ditch.
To be fair, for Willie, it was mostly about the glory of combat.
Baptiste, I'm going to describe it to you because you recognize her almost immediate. It was the doctor. But underneath where her arms are crossed, her chest is exploded. Something that was inside came out. And then something else laid her at the side of the road. Her body is ancient.
Baptiste drops his sidearm.
Well, that's
Like-
a terrible thing to see happen.
Like dropping a Cadillac.
Yeah.
He drops it.
Into the dust.
He goes to his knees and Sean, you sorry, I'm sorry, what's your
Who the
character name?
fuck is John?
Colonel Willie. Yeah.
Colonel Willie.
Willie just hears it's Latin, and then sometimes his voice falters, like he's trying to think the word, and he hears French.
Okay. So Willie kind of drops his gun, seeing you relax in the situation, sheathes his rifle again, and I imagine you know her.
She looks like she's 100+ years old. The hair is white. The skin is like parchment that's gotten wet and dried again.
Actually, for Marshal Kevin, I will say this: unless Willie actively physically stops what's happening, Baptiste is on his knees, sweating and speaking in Latin, pulls out a small leather-bound book, and this takes 8 hours.
All right,
And if you stop him.
Willie's not super religious, so he's looking at this and he's like, "Well, I guess this is your way."
Yeah, and 8 hours later we pick this up, so we can happily jump to something else. But
Okay.
for a mechanics
the-
wise, he is. And if you need me to roll a guts on this, I'll accept it. But he immediately starts an exorcism.
Okay.
8 hours later.
All right. I will say that while you're doing this, Willie's going to go check your packs on your horse for any kind of digging implement, because he is not leaving this woman laying at the side of the road. That is improper.
You find a ridiculous amount of cigars.
I have a few myself. Oh, good. I'm going to light one up for you when we're done.
Cigars, cash, and 3 or 4 changes of clothes.
Okay.
That's about it,
This
actually.
is nothing.
And oddly enough, there are a number of plates of steel, like 1/2 inch thick, 6 inch by 12 inch plates of steel. It's very weird.
All right. Well, in the absence of any digging implements, Willie grabs what he can for rocks to kind of create a rock grave for the
A
person.
cairn? Sure, absolutely. Just before we skip away, I'm just going to tell the good father one or two things. What you're trying to exorcise is already gone,
I figured. As a
but
player.
the exorcism is worth continuing because what's been left behind is unclean by your standards. Well, sorry, by the standards of that stole around your neck. What's been left
fair.
behind has been left unclean. So you would still probably feel the need to do this exorcism just to prepare the body.
So I feel something leave, but not the harrow.
Yes, the harrow is whatever was harrowing her is gone. It has, by the looks of it, you spend 8 hours staring at this body, somewhere between left of its own accord and was torn physically out. There's a confusion as to exactly how that harrowed came out.
That's fair.
You see one other thing.
Do you want to roll? Do you want to
Nope.
roll before you tell me?
No, this I just want to give you this.
All right, I'll take it.
She's smiling. She looks at peace. Meanwhile, I'll leave you guys with that. Up in a certain smoky cave, 4 of you stand around looking at the outline of this ghost train coming out of where it came out of the wall. Looking around at this mine that 4 days ago was a crack in the wall and 2 days after that was a small opening and is now a 12 by 12 opening that's almost mined out on both sides of you. There's burning ghost rock stalagmites starting to light the stalactites above on fire. There's Alan Campbell's weird, new, twisted form, complete with horns and rolled back eyes, coming out of the stone at you. And in the silence, Lucius says, I've got a job to do. I have to go to the graveyard. And he suddenly turns, and anybody who's really paying attention hears as he's heading away. He's overloaded. He's going to where he's comfortable, which for him is a cemetery full of dead people. Leaving the 3 of you inside this smoky...
As he leaves, Alice will be like, okay, bye, I guess. What? Like...
And he's just... And you realize he came up here on your horse, so he's walking back. Although, to be fair, he left his cart and his horse at the cemetery, so he probably wouldn't need to go back there anyway. So. The 3 of you.
Kevin, I recall last time my hand was in less than a ideal.
So
I'm a little bit
thank
worried
you.
about that.
Okay, well, sure, let's do that then. I almost forgot about that, but I didn't. I have a plan. Let's start with that. You, as I remember, leaned in to see what you could see, and when your fingers touched the obsidian material, they went through. And in that second that you pulled them back, they came back covered in ghost rock corn dogs, I believe is how I described them. Yeah, and it burns. It's hot. It's steaming, burning hot, but not as hot as it should be. Not that you've got a lot of experience having your fingers in molten rock before, but it seems like it should be hotter. And you look down and there's a little bit of smoke coming off of them, but they're starting to harden.
Like the ghost rock around my fingers are starting to harden?
Yep, like they're just kind of turning into like little rock casts around your fingers.
I like, does it hurt though?
It's cooling, but yeah, it's like holding onto a hot pot. You really, 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 really want to put this down, but it's kind of attached at the moment.
Okay, yeah, I kind of like yelp and like I'm shaking my hand trying to...
Yeah, you just and it's cooling more. You can feel that it's still burning, but you look down and they're starting to just crack a little bit, like they might be getting a little bit fragile. They were obsidian after all. Obsidian and ghost rock blended together.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna keep like trying to pull it off of my hand.
It won't really come off, and eventually you reach over and just smack it, just out of rage. You kind of smack it against the wall, not the obsidian part of the wall, but the rock wall part of the rock. Yeah. And the one around your index finger cracks right in half and comes open and falls away. And inside, wrapped around your finger, is a playing card.
I
got 3 fingers and a thumb dipped in this stuff. Still hurts.
Smack the wall again.
Yeah, I like just kind of pull it and just like kind of stare at the other 2 and then start smacking my other hands.
Yeah, you shatter them all off. It only takes a couple seconds. It's like a second-degree burn, so it's not really debilitating. It hurts like hell, but it's not really. We're not going to put a wound on your sheet or anything for it.
Bahamut gave me worse than that.
But around each one of your fingers and your thumb is a playing card, all rolled up tight.
Jet, do you anything?
Can you?
I guess.
What? I don't know why there's cards in the wall, if that's what you're trying to ask me.
I don't know why there was cards in the specifically wrapped around my finger. I'm gonna open them, see what.
You unwrap the first one, and it's not a regular playing. Well, it's a regular playing card on the outside, but on the inside, it's a bouquet of flowers. A picture of a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, it's Charlie.
Why do you say
the
that
second one,
so happily?
Same thing. Unwrap the third one. Same thing. All 5. You're standing there with 5 curled up, half melted cards in your hand, all with an image of a bouquet of flowers.
If it's Charlie, isn't he trying to fix his stupid ball?
I mean, this also might be a way we could break the obsidian.
I still ain't met this man. I was gonna, but then, stuff happened. If he's as interesting as you say he is, then he sounds like someone. What does this have to do with this? I'm confused.
He gave me a card of flowers once that he turned into real flowers. These are the same cards as these. And
as you say
quite
that,
magical.
As you say that, one of the cards of those 5 curled up, half burnt things in your hands turns into a tiny little real bouquet of flowers, but it looks like it's really poorly rendered. It's like it barely happened, and then it just turns to ash and disappears.
Would I know about that kind of magic, like off the top of my head, or would that not be something I've heard of yet?
What all of you would certainly know is that the standard form of magic in this world, hex slinging, is based on cards. It's actually based on Hoyle's Book of Games, which is a secret code book, which is not a book of games at all, but actually secret instructions for how to cast spells.
Did Chessie
know how to do it.
Did Chessie ever mention this to me?
Yes, this is standard operating procedure. Card sharks in this world are mostly assumed to be magical because most people that are flinging cards about are hucksters. So it adds a whole new level to his gambling, because gambling with a huckster is borderline stupid. No, I'll take that back. It's just stupid. You're gambling with somebody who could physically change the nature of the cards you're gambling with. Obviously, if you get caught doing that, you might have to run away from people.
And she seems fine now that she's shaking the...
Yeah, especially as she peels the cards away from her fingers, those blisters that you were sort of the second degree burns, they don't so much heal up as just sort of absorb back into the skin.
I want to investigate the border. Like, look at the border, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this set into the wall? Is it flush with the wall? Is there a gap between it? Like,
Give me a scrutinize. Scrutinize some wall for me.
That's a 7.
Okay.
Savvy Debbie.
You sort of carefully, after seeing what you've already seen, take out maybe a knife or something and sort of pick around the edges.
Yeah.
What you find is that the obsidian is a solid chunk, but around it you can pick away the ore that makes up the ghost rock. So you can only go in this far. You don't see a lot with a 7, but what it looks like is that there's a tube of obsidian that was perhaps melted as this train came through the rock and out into this space. So you turn and look behind you. Remember, there's that long hallway that you guys just came down? It looks like that extends into the rock, but it's full of melted glass, melted rock, obsidian, which is volcanic glass.
Alice would share all that as she's as she's like picking at it. She would be sharing the things that she's seeing.
Here's the other weird thing. As long as you only touch it with your knife or your dagger, it's solid. It doesn't go in like her fingers did.
Something about
the same spot.
Even in the same spot, ting, 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 with the tip of the dagger.
Alice says, hold on one moment. And she's going to run outside. And she wants to see if it's a living material thing or it's specifically flesh. And so she's going to try to find like a flower, like something, like some kind of living material that
Just a handful of grass or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, run back in and smack, smack, smack. Nothing. Yep. I want to point out an amazing transformation. Ryan has gone from Baptiste to Jimi Hendrix in like 3 minutes.
Yeah. You can be both. It's fine.
Porque no las dos?
Okay.
So yeah, grass, no effect.
Okay.
I mean, you could try it with a bug, maybe. Go out and catch a grasshopper and throw it at the obsidian, see what happens.
I mean, sure.
It goes halfway in and stops. Just like her finger did. If you grab the little back feet, kick for a second and then stop, you pull it out and there's a very dead grasshopper half covered in melted ghost rock.
I'm going to break
burned,
it.
Like burned on the inside. Like her finger should have been, like down to the bone.
Maybe because it's smaller and it was, if you had been exposed longer, maybe it would have had time to do this.
At Ellie, all you're hearing is blah, 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 because you're looking down at these 4 cards and you know what the hell happened.
Science.
I want to break it off of the grasshopper and see if there's anything under it.
It's just a scorched, hollow shape where the grasshopper used to be.
So no card.
No card.
No, that card, I'm pretty sure that card was for me. But
how?
Well, it's Charlie. It's the same card he gave me.
So you're saying he's in there and you reached your hand in and he went, oh, here, have some cards?
And I'm literally just like over in the corner. I'm just like, it's magic. You know, that thing.
So we are saying that Charlie did this? That doesn't make any fucking lick of sense to me.
I don't know.
I think the cards are the reason that my hands aren't burnt to a crisp at the moment. But I don't know what he's trying to get at.
Well, in my mind, the best way to figure this kind of stuff out, the thing I've always done, is you go find the person who knows the magic, and you talk to the person who knows the magic, and then you find out why they did the magic. See how many times
you just don't want to meet Charlie?
Of course I want to meet Charlie. I wanted to meet this man as soon as you told me he did this stuff. This is like the stuff I feel like I need to know about. And God knows I don't know anything about this town, but I don't want to be in here any longer. Ghost rock is certainly not great for my complexion nor yours.
Or our lungs or our sanity.
Yeah.
And there
And
out of the
that.
wall, there's
Exhibit
the
A.
remains of Alan Campbell. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not really getting any farther here. Miss Alice, if you want to continue your science experiments, by all means, but why don't we have a chat with Charlie?
Well, I'm not going to stay in this what might be a literal hellhole for the rest of the day by myself.
Little trip then to the bar.
So you guys turn and leave the burning mountain behind. As you were walking out, you notice once again that one stalagmite has lit the stalactite above it on fire. It's not making not making much more smoke than it was before, but it's certainly it's going to be more challenging the longer you wait, obviously. Having said that, you guys get outside. There are 2 horses outside now and only 3 of you, so easy enough to get back down to the village, to the town, or the remains of the town, as the case may be. As you come down the hill, you do see that area that was just destroyed recently by whatever did that in the wall of steam. And you guys make your way back down into town. And it's really too bad that Sam's not here tonight, because he's been waiting to hear these words for weeks. You have nothing to do for the rest of the day. You've got about 5 or 6 hours before it's time to go to bed. Lucius, as the sun sets, arrives back from the cemetery, straight up the stairs and into his room. He's dragging a heavy bag behind him, sweating profusely. Clank, 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 up the stairs, down the hall, into his room. Anybody else?
Are we
Well,
just going to the bar?
Going to Charlie.
Just going to see Charlie? Okay.
go see Charlie.
I wanted to check because I know there was some tinkering somebody wanted to do. So, but you guys drop off your stuff back at the bar. You put your horse back at the stables. Genevieve kind of nods to you across the street. And you guys head down to...
Alice glares. She's like...
the stink eye carves a laser line across the street.
Mm-hmm.
You guys arrive at the bar to find a very strange situation.
There always is.
It's always a strange situation. This one is as strange as you've seen. Anastasia is pushing a big chunk of wall. Like it's several 2x4s this way, several 2x4s this way, and a bunch of planking on the outside of it. And she's trying to push it back up into position. It looks like it's just very recently fallen back in. Like they built it and it just collapsed again. And as you get a little closer, you see why it's her that's doing it. It's because Charlie's laying on the floor behind her, holding his ribs and rocking back and forth. Looks up and see you guys. Oh, as soon as, yeah.
I'll help push
As soon as you guys
the
get in
wall.
sight, he starts to smile. Okay, and the other, yeah.
I'm gonna help push the wall. I don't really give
You're
a
gonna
crap
go help
about
Anastasia?
Charlie, but I want to help Anastasia.
Okay. And Jet?
I need to know because I can't remember.
Yep.
Does Jet know? Has Ellie told me that there's something about when the bar is put back together, he's put back together?
Yeah, I did tell you about
Yeah.
that.
Okay. So yeah, then if I see this, I'm immediately gonna walk over to him and be like, "So partner, is this a two-way street? Does if you're fixed, does the bar fix, or is it just one way?"
You're not used to this, but he completely ignores you. It's like he didn't even hear you. Miss Ellie, as soon as he sees you, big smile. You can tell it hurts.
Charlie, you look a lot worse. I thought you would have been better at this point, having...
Did you get the flowers?
Yes, I got the flowers.
Oh, good.
Is that why you're hurt?
Cost me 5 cards.
Charlie, you shouldn't have protected me.
don't mean to be rude, miss, but don't tell me what to do.
How did you know I needed help?
I didn't. I just sent them with you in case they needed it. In case you needed it.
Is there any way I can pay back the favor? How can I help you get better?
Start the bar. Get it up and running. Serve some drinks.
And I'm just tapping my boot like,
What's the condition of the building and the bar? Is it?
Overall, it's better than it was. Since Anastasia's been here to help, she is a incredibly physically powerful being. She is like putting up 6x6s by herself. Like she's a work crew all by herself. Miss Alice, to be honest, you are maybe not quite getting in the way, but that's about all you're managing to accomplish. Is that you're not helping much.
Yep.
But with her help, this bar looks like it was in pretty good shape. Maybe 35, 40% fixed. But then this wall caved in.
Okay.
If you had to rate this bar on a scale of 1 to 52, just as an example, the bar would be at about a 24 right now.
Yeah, I imagine Alice just kind of has her hand on the wall, just like, just
Miss
pretending
Alice.
to, you know.
Anastasia pushes the wall back up into position. And the wood mends. The two broken ends just and rebond like they were never broken. Jet, you hear doink, and Miss Ellie, you see his hand move as one rib goes back into position.
and at this point, again, I'm more testing at this point. I'm like, can he hear me? All right,
Sorry, mister. Sorry. You are. And he reaches up his hand and gets about halfway, and you can just no.
Charlie,
no,
easy,
no.
easy. This is my friend, Jet.
And he reaches up a foot, like he's offering you the foot to shake. He's trying to be a gentleman.
and I will take it. I will shake it. I'm just gonna shake it and be like, listen, I'm trying to help you. I'm asking a question. From what I could see and from what Miss Ellie has told me, you seem to be linked to this place. Now I'm asking you, if I were able to help fix you, would that fix the bar?
I don't know. Nobody's ever blown up my bar before.
Well, I guess there's always a time to learn, ain't there? And I guess I roll up my sleeve again.
No, not this again. Ellie does say this.
Oh. And I look at him, I'm like, see, I'm a magic user myself, sir. At least I think it. Ain't no cards, buddy. And I pull out my knife.
What are you?
I'm gonna set my hand on his shoulder gently, just trust him. This is gonna be worse for him than for you.
Yeah, it ain't for you, buddy. And I guess I'm just gonna give myself I guess I'll give myself another wound on my left arm.
Okay.
And that will give me
Going for the full wounding or the maim rather than the scar?
Yeah, I'm just going to go for the maim on my arm. So now I had like a deep cut, and now it's just like I just dug in and went even further, and I'm just kind of wincing.
Why did I do this? Oh, why did I give you this?
It's in the top, not the bottom. I'm not,
Yeah.
So I dug in, and I could feel it, and I'm like... And it's just that, like, you got to laugh so you don't tear up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try. I don't even know. I'm just going to put it right on his center and see what I can do to him. So that's...
And as you reach down with the arm, he's kind of like leaning back, and he looks at Miss Ellie and says, he's not going to bleed on me, is he?
I mean, I can't promise there won't be blood on you, but it might actually help you get better. Although he needs to stop doing that.
It's fine.
So that gives you 3 appeasement points, right, for the wound?
Mm-hmm.
3 appeasement points.
which will feel 3 levels of wounds, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I think
rule?
so, because
Yep.
light is 2, heavy is 3.
Yes.
So-
Okay. So you place your hand on him and you feel that, again, as soon as you stab yourself, there's that overwhelming sense of power. It's addictive. This feels good. One of these days, you're not going to heal somebody. You're just going to ride this wave and see where it goes. But not today. And you slam your hand down on him and you feel the energy flow from you into him. And it skitters around him. Do you know what a Faraday cage is?
That sounds familiar.
It
but not
happens in airplanes. When lightning hits the surface of an airplane, it skitters around the skin and then off the bottom. And there's no effect to what happens inside. In fact, it's perfectly safe to be in an airplane that's hit by lightning. Scary as hell, but perfectly safe.
Yay, Richard
That's what
Faraday. I think
happens.
his name was Richard.
I thought it was David, but either way, Mr.
Might
Faraday.
be.
Let's just call him Mr. Faraday. Thanks to his effect, you watch your energy skitter across the surface of him, around the edges, and just discharge into the floor of the bar. And at first you're thinking, shit, because he's not healed. But then you hear him go, oh, oh, oh. He kind of moves a little bit, and as he rolls out of the way, there's a spot on the floor about that big around. It's perfect. It's polished. There's even a peanut shell or 2 on it from somebody who's had a snack. You didn't heal him, but you did heal a very small part of the bar, which healed him.
Oh, and I'm just.
And he looks at you, and he looks at the floor, and he looks at his stomach, and he looks back at you. Don't take this the wrong way, mister, but I don't like that very much.
And I'm just.
Charlie.
I'm already down there, so I'm just kind of like kneeling on the floor, sweating, and I'm just like, it ain't a picnic for me either, partner. But I'm glad I could help, and I'm just kind of confused more than anything. Like, I get it, but I'm also like, that is not a lot.
And one of his hands comes away from his belly and reaches over and picks up one of those little crushed peanut shells. And as he does, it turns into a playing card. And he just tucks it in his pocket. Thanks, mister.
Yeah. Drinks are on you next time.
Speaking of drinks, I can't get up. Miss Ellie, could you, the cupboard,
Oh,
please?
go over and to the cupboard and grab the first drink.
You open that cupboard up and you are spoiled for choice. It's only 2 shelves, but there's about 8 different kinds of drink across the top and 8 more across the bottom. Inside the doors, there's more options. As a tender of the bar yourself, this is the best stocked cupboard you have ever seen. Everything is in here.
Charlie, I'm
That
glad
mix.
your priorities of fixing up the bar are as they should be. Do you have a preference?
Something without a lid on it.
All right, I'm just gonna pick one randomly, take the lid off, and
Yep.
give it
And
to
you
him.
might as well, because he can't enjoy it. He doesn't get drunk. You're feeding his puka and keeping it from coming out, right? That's what's happening right now. So yeah, you
I
get
thought
back
the
with a
Puka was
bottle and
gone or something.
no, it tried to take over Lucius because it wanted a stronger host, but Lucius made the roll, so he was okay.
Okay, gotcha.
We'll tell him that when he gets back next week. So yes, you hand him, he downs like half of it, and Anastasia keeps putting up walls with Alice's help.
Jet, you feeling up to trying
Help
to
is a strong word.
You're
you
trying.
feeling up to trying to put together this bar?
And I'm looking down at my arm, and I'm like, maybe the old-fashioned way, but
Yes,
I ain't
the
doing
old-fashioned way. I think you've stabbed yourself quite enough for the past forever.
Yeah, I might need to take a little break from that for a couple days, but I can do. And I'm just tired. I just look tired, and I'm like, but yeah, I can do some of this.
Well, don't strain yourself.
It was Michael Faraday. Thank you, chat.
No, so again, most of my knowledge from this is from Red Dead Redemption 2.
They may have changed a thing or two.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of convenience, you guys are planning, the three of you are planning on spending the rest of the sunlight hours of the day helping to put the bar back together?
I am.
It's weird because, like I was saying earlier, when you put something back where it belongs, it heals back in place. So you put a shelf up on the wall and the things that hold the shelf just kind of pop up into place and you let it go and the shelf is in the right spot. You pick up a broken table and put it where it's supposed to go and the leg comes sucking out of underneath something else across the room and sticks to the bottom of the table and stands back up.
Every time I do it, it's like I pick up a table and see that happen, and I just look over at Miss Alice with just that shit-eating grin, just like...
Yes, speaking of Miss Alice.
Yeah.
3 hours of this. 3 hours of self-healing bar.
Yeah, at a certain point when he's like, do we reach a point where he's like good to like breathe again and like
He by the end of the 3 hours, when it's starting to get dark, he is now up in a chair, leaning against the table.
okay.
He's on his 4th or 5th bottle, but
Right.
unaffected.
Okay, so when he's kind of at that point, Alice is gonna say, "Well, since you seem to know so much about how the cards helped Miss Ellie, what in the hell is going on up there with that obsidian train, Alan Campbell's stuck in the wall bullshit?"
Oh, I didn't know about Campbell up there, but to be honest, thank you. Thank you very much. To be honest, that's more up his alley. And he points at Jet.
Well,
My
he
magic
seemed
doesn't work like that.
confused up there, so doesn't look like what? Like what?
My magic, I make stuff change by concentrating. And by using cards, I literally play games with the devil. And if I win, I get to do magic. That, and he points up the hill, and even in the late evening sun, you can see the smoke coming out of the tunnels. That's world magic. That's bigger. That's, and he points at the blood on Jet's arm. That's that. Different thing.
Is it
Partner,
more
I'll-
dangerous?
I don't understand it. It scares the shit out of me. Oh,
I just
look.
stabbed
And he reaches
myself
under a
to
table
heal
and pulls
people.
out another card from nowhere. Sticks it in his pocket. Sorry?
I just said to him, I was like, I just stabbed myself to heal people. It ain't no big thing. I don't know where.
It kind of is. It's very weird. First of
What-
all,
It's only weird because you're making it weird. You've been so hard-headed, not wanting to believe it's a thing that you can't accept it for what it is. We're in a bar right now that every time you touch something, it grows back.
Sorry, Jet. I mean, I agree with you. Miss Alice is definitely a little blindsided to certain things, but it is weird.
At each their own. My mama always, and I kind of trail off.
somebody here's got to have some sort of logical damn brain.
Jet reaches out and says, Miss Alice, you're probably not going to like this. And he puts his hand on Jet's arm and reaches into his pocket and pulls out a 3 and another 3 and another 3. And they go poof and turn into ash. Your arm is healed. The wound is gone.
He did that to whom?
To you. To the wound that you did to heal him, he just healed on you. That's how normal people do it.
But where's the sacrifice? What are you
He
getting?
looks down at the ash on the table and you look at him and it's like he's lost 10 pounds.
Man, I just did that. I didn't want you to give it back, and I'm actually
Drops back
offended.
into the chair. Yeah.
And Alice says, "Well, yeah, but his is easier to fix." And she just dusts the ash off and and like puts a chair back or something.
Yep. And he drops back in the chair and he goes, "Oh, thank you, Miss Alice." And he reaches out and right underneath, you had your hand on the table, damn it, it was not there. He reaches out and pulls a card out from under your hand, Miss Alice. Says, "Thank you." Tucks it in his pocket and gets a little bit healthier.
I truly don't know what happened to my life. I'm just gonna I'm not looking at any of them. I'm just gonna go back to fixing the bar. I'm so done with magic today. Jet's bleeding. My hand should
Not anymore.
be broken.
He's fixed.
Apparently not, because people decided to be rude.
He's so easily offended. The easily offended cowboy.
Remember how you said that he wasn't going to pout his lip? Well,
Yep, I was wrong. There was some
Snowflake.
punk left over. Anyway, so for the rest of that evening, you guys go back to the hotel. Probably don't talk about this to each other. Sort of a very
No.
quiet dinner where you're all sort of staring at the food and each up, unless interrupt me at any time if there's any conversations you guys would like to have before the end of the evening.
no, whenever we leave the bar, Alice is going straight to her room to tinker with some things and some stuff.
Have 2 hours of tinkering time.
Okay.
So I've given you, do you have a project in mind?
I do. I have it written down. I don't remember what it was. Basically, the first thing she's going to do, I'd say she probably spends about an hour looking at the daguerreotype, like looking at
Yep.
the
Okay, that's what you want to figure out? Sure.
the thing with the box and the whatever in
Yep.
the world is
Okay.
going on there.
So give me a tinkering roll.
It's not-
Okay, that makes sense. I modified it slightly because of your chemical knowledge. You figure out a couple, again, you're going to have to build the apparatus to do this,
Mhm.
but you figure out if you make the aperture smaller, you can make the exposure time longer and still not overexpose your image.
Okay.
The size, that's just purely going to be building
Yeah.
a bigger camera.
It's
There's nothing you can
Yeah.
do about that. Longer focal length, bigger camera.
Yeah. Okay. So she'll probably spend about an hour kind of
Doing the
fiddling
math
around
and-
with
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that she wants to figure out is some kind of something that she could attach to her gun that would be a scope and a camera.
Okay, that's going to be much more difficult. But give me a tinkering check just to sort of come up with the idea. This is
Yeah.
that sort of a design phase.
Yeah. Wow, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You can figure out basically how to put a lens on it, but it's the focusing, the distance,
Yeah.
the adjusting the focus on it. It's going to be, you can't have a camera sitting on top of a rifle. It's not going to work. But
Yeah.
you at least have a basic understanding of what the difficulty is going to be.
Okay.
But you're not going to be building one anytime real soon.
Okay. And I should mention she's also thinking about it. She's going to also be thinking about if maybe she can do a different type of photography with it too. Because by this point, amber types are more popular, but she's so
Yeah, figuring out a way to apply the ghost rock to that other medium. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll leave you thinking about that. And the rest of the night, unless anybody has anything planned, out in the forest. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to. Ellie needs to go clear her head for a little bit, so she's gonna get Onyx and just kind of go not far out of town, but like a little bit. She's gonna ride a bit out of town and just practice some shooting to make her feel better.
Okay. Yeah, that works for me. Meanwhile, out of town, 8 hours passes. The darkness has fallen. The exorcism is complete. It's a new moon tonight, so it's fairly visible. There is a cairn of rocks built to one side, sort of a hollow, open cairn, I'm assuming, awaiting the body.
Mm-hmm.
Padre, you're muted.
So, Baptiste sort of comes out of it and, like taking a look at him, he sort of looks around. He's sweaty and he's like his clothes are soaked, and he kind of looks around, surprised at how dark it is and all that kind of stuff for a moment, and kind of takes a look at the captain.
Yep, Colonel.
Colonel.
The
Yeah.
Colonel says, "Well, I think this good woman deserves a proper burial. I'd be more than happy to disclose things in the morning, but Colonel, if you would."
No
I'll
need
take
to
it
ask.
very
It's already
fast.
prepped. You just help me get the body in.
And he helps, but I would say it's probably depending on if you want it to happen or not. Like for as spry and agile and sort of some physical prowess that he showed earlier in the day, like it's almost like it's harder to get her interred because he's helping. Like he's done physically. He's there. Nothing here.
All right.
Speaking of which, give me a spirit check, please.
Oh.
Or faith, whichever you prefer. I think they're the same.
Is that a
stat,
keep
basically.
one or a keep all?
That is going to be a keep one.
All right.
Keep all is basically just for damage.
Oh, well, I will take that because it's better.
Speaking of which, message me your sheet this week and I'll put it in Roll20 for you.
Yep.
But that's a very good roll. There is a
He
as
does
you're
two things well.
as you are helping, as you are trying to put this woman to rest, there's a part of you that doesn't want to. There's a part of you that is very upset at what it sees. There's a part of you that is angry. But you managed to force that part down. And maybe that's why you're not as helpful as you normally would be.
All right.
Okay.
You
So
guys-
in the middle of it, so the way that I'll try to interpret that is that we get her in the hole and we start trying to fill it back up, and Baptiste actually starts telling a story about a Sioux woman who was defending a small village in the northeastern section of Texas. But the Rangers had been charged with clearing that town out. And he talks about the fact that, well, I met the obligations of that contract, but I'm very proud of the fact that I never fired a single shot that day. I wish things had happened differently for that woman and her family. And then the story's done, and he's able to sort of keep digging and interring the woman.
Any
Willie,
response to that, Colonel? Yeah.
yeah, Willie kind of takes the story in as he's kind of laying the rocks down. He doesn't really know a whole lot about this guy's history and his connection to this woman, but from that story, he kind of hears other things later. He says, "Well, Father, I'm not. I don't claim to be familiar with you or your lifestyle, but In these lands, in these times, a man's mettle is frequently tested more than ever at the crossroads of honor and duty. And from the sounds of it, perhaps you did pass that test.
I will say that if it's okay for me to do some narrative things here, Marshal
Oh,
Kevin,
yes, please.
that bit of conversation from Colonel Willie happens right as they're done laying the last stone, and Baptiste straightens up, and he actually looks a lot stronger than he has in the last day that you've been with him. And he looks at you, and it's a look that's friendly but cautious.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Colonel, I like you, but I don't like a lot of men out this far west. But, sir, if you ever talk to me about duty again, I suggest you have a sidearm in your hand. Good night, sir."
Good night, sir.
And he puts his hand out to shake your hand.
He shakes your hand, kind of eyeing you up, thinking like, okay, so this is the way it's going to be.
And he gives it back with respect.
Oh, yeah, no, he gives back respect.
Colonel, I have a question.
Sure.
You told me earlier you are wearing the jacket and hat, right? Of your Yeah. Is there any insignia?
Just the things that would identify me as that rank.
Okay, so you've still got your shoulder board, your
Yeah,
epaulets, and your so you're still marked as a. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to look if they had been removed or not. So,
yeah.
Okay.
And then once we're done shaking hands, and I say, "Well, we still got a longer journey ahead of us, and since we've finished your ritual, why don't we have one of mine?" And he goes into his coat, and he pulls out 2 cigars, and he offers you one.
He takes it and pulls out a small metallic silver box with matches in it.
Oh, nice. Thanks so much. I found myself on the road without a light. I was hoping you had one.
Oh, my northern friend, the fires are seldom far behind me.
Excellent.
And once again,
And they have a
blue and the
perfectly
gray.
lovely, like the moment of tension is there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's perfectly collegial.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And for narrative reason, the walk to paradise takes exactly the rest of the night.
All right.
And in the morning, you guys roll into town. Colonel, this is the first time you've been to paradise. It looks like at one point, relatively recently, it was probably a fairly normal town, except for the train tracks that go up the hill to nowhere. But there's been some stuff quite lately. There's a large, what can only be described as a hell train, crashed at the one end of town. Skulls and ghost rock and dark windows and torn up ground and burned hillside. And everybody's walking around like nothing's wrong. And on the other side of town, this is also new for Baptiste. There is a section at the northern side of town right near the lake where there's a half a block that has been burned and chopped down. And that's happened in the day and a half that you've been gone.
Oh, good. I was worried my journey might become boring.
My understanding, my good sir, is that nothing boring happens in this town, though perhaps it would prosper from a little bit of less interesting days and nights.
Perhaps, but then how could one's mettle really be tested in an uninteresting life?
Fair enough. And actually, when you say that, he hops off of Rebecca and like settles down very uncomfortably into sort of a sprinter's stance and winks at you and says, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Takes off at a run. I don't know what I roll in Deadlands for run.
I don't know either.
How do we want to put this as a race? Because Willie's not going to shy away from challenge.
Oh, I
Okay,
know, and that's
I
why I
mean-
did it.
Oh yeah, no, he's a cavalryman, so he's not. Yeah, no, this is.
Oh no, I'm about to lose, but let's do it.
Give me wow. Give me a survival check each. This is about just running and pushing each other and scrabbling and
Survival. What's
Okay.
survival under?
We're
under smarts.
in here somewhere.
So right hand column.
Oh,
way down
this
to the
is
bottom.
so bad for me.
And it's keep one. So
Oh man,
there we go.
I hope you're ready to win.
Well, we'll see.
seven.
I got nothing under survival, man. Which
nothing there. In that case, you roll
Oh,
one
man.
D, whatever your smarts are, and subtract 4.
Baptiste might win.
okay, so 1d8.
You're about to get
subtract
whooped
4.
by an old man.
I'm an old
Just
man too.
Just do, yeah, exactly. Just
We're
do
both
keep
like
Hey,
one.
look
Yeah.
though, you're 20 years younger than I am.
Okay, well,
Shit!
Okay. Has anybody ever seen?
But that's
the,
-4, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is -4. So yeah. Anybody ever seen? I don't mean to be rude, but the Senior Olympics. They have like the age categories.
okay. So are there not streets to be run on?
So I
Oh,
win,
yes.
but
If
it's 20
someone's
minutes
good at
later.
running
This
on
is right
streets,
up
would it
Main
not be streetwise?
This is the two of you running up Main Street of this half-destroyed town. This
Just
old
like,
man and this
wheeze.
even older man. Cowboy boots dipping in the rocks and sweat flying and hats coming off and a stole flapping in the purple wind. Yeah,
It's all bad
hair
news.
in the breeze. And one step by one step, they're side by each, as my grandfather used to say. And they get to the steps of the inn, and Baptiste takes them 2 at a time and makes that 2-step up. Colonel, your sword catches on the 2nd step. And
Oh,
Baptiste runs through the swinging doors of the bar, followed by you. Boom, 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 cannonball rolling into the room.
In my head, I imagine the race where they're trying to run, and somebody just walks by and is like, like
There
because
was
they're
definitely a bit
faster
of that
walking
nudge
than
and
they
elbow.
start running. So they're just like,
God.
oh my
Hey,
God.
I'll tell you this right now. I run faster than Miss Alice can spend money.
That's not possible.
And you look up, and there's Miss Alice and the other two sitting at the table having breakfast.
Well,
I think nobody won there.
Everybody
The
lost.
audience won. The audience won.
There you go.
I would like to have a rematch at some point. Wheeze!
Bartender, can I get a glass of lemonade for this slow ass Yankee and some whiskey for a true Southern gentleman?
You may need to put it in a straw. Well, this poor fella about to keel over, exerting himself, beating me in a foot race.
But beaten nonetheless.
Yeah. And the three of you
Yankee.
see Baptiste all just face all sucked in and dehydrated, coughing up a lung, but he is standing. And behind him on the floor is a dust-covered Yankee soldier.
What in the Sam Hill?
So, okay, so just to be clear, from our perspective, we see Baptiste run in the door and a Yankee soldier run in after him.
No, he rolled
He
in.
tripped on the top step.
Blah, 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 blah,
But it looked okay. So from Alice's
Yep.
perspective, she thinks that the Yankee is chasing Baptiste.
Oh, but he just bought
Oh,
him a drink
hey, look at
as soon
that,
as they got
man.
here.
I'm not going to shoot you. Alice is.
Oh, good. She can try.
What?
So I mean, because from my perspective, that's what it looks like, right? Like
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
Uh,
He did.
so-
He did order him a
Unless
drink.
it,
A
unless
lemonade,
It's
but-
a 3-foot tall Yankee.
Like,
Because as soon as I saw this, that's exactly what I said after I hear them yelling all this crap with the other one on the ground. I'm sitting over to him, just like, what in the Sam Hill? And I look at Baptiste and I was like, you were supposed to be. What even happened to you?
Apparently, he won.
Yeah, well, he was. And I'm just kind of like, not my eyes aren't narrowed, but I'm just skeptical.
Now, settle yourself down, young man. We just had ourselves a nice little gentlemanly walk in the woods. Followed by
Is
a
that
little
what we
bit of
call walking
competition.
these days?
Well,
How can you have a gentlemanly anything with a damn Yankee at your heels?
I will say,
Oh, I can see this is den of prejudice.
Sir, I mean,
while he may have had a bit of a wayward turn during the troubles, he does conduct himself well. My friends, if we could perhaps convene here in a little while, there is perhaps more, unfortunate news about a recent acquaintance that we've all had yonder the Caduceus way. And he gestures towards the medical facilities.
in which I perk up because this is exactly what I was waiting for. I was like, what did you do?
But he actually he wanders off towards a facilities.
I feel, Jet, I feel like you aren't going to get any answers right now.
I ain't going after him into the facilities. I don't need all that in my life, but I'll get answers. Be sure.
Well, nobody's getting answers right now because right now we're going to take a quick break.
Oh, thank God.
And you can get out of that hat.
No, not the hat.
Oh, the
The
hair.
hair.
Oh my God. That's not your real hair.
Oh, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Beauty is pain.
Beauty is pain.
Oh my God. And the 3-inch heels that I'm wearing.
That's why I gave up wearing wigs years ago. I just go with it. You know, bold is beautiful. That's what I like to say. Hey, now, so I figured now's a good time to go ahead and tell y'all why I'm clearing out that space. Open up a little bit of a snack shop here at the MOM Trading Post. So come down next week. Gonna have a special all week long on Charlie's Ghost Rat Corn Dogs coming off fresh out the cave with the cards in them and everything. Hey, thanks, Karis. And thanks to our newest subscriber there, Game Fuel. That person seems pretty awesome. You know, if we get, like 7 more there, we can do a new emote. Ooh, will it be? Maybe it'll be a jet emote. I don't know. It's going to be something Deadlands, though. I'll tell you that. Anyways, hey,
Tumbling
Puck.
Colonel.
Hey, Puck, you should probably tell them all about some of the things coming up and the follower count stuff. You know the spiel. You do it twice a week.
That's I'm being put to work here. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just because you're not in this box don't mean you don't get the
So I was
responsibility.
like, I thought I was going to get to just play a game. I didn't know there was going to be.
No, this is
I
fine.
cannot be
You don't
trusted
get to
to
come
give out
on camera
information.
and not work. Get your shit together.
You gotta work, mother pucker.
All right, so we're doing giveaways. Every 100 follower landmark, we're doing a giveaways, and I think we're only like 20 away, 30 away, 20,
Not
21,
many.
22. Anyways, just a little bit more. Once we get to 800 followers, we're going to do another giveaway. This incredible handcrafted green leather spell book. So you can put spell cards on the inside. It's really nice. It's really beautiful. So we'll be doing a giveaway for that. That's what we got coming up. We also got a special Halloween special happening on Thursday, which Marshal Kevin's going to be doing a special game that may or may not be based on a Stephen King book, but it's a lot of fun.
I stole
Lesser
from all
known
sorts
Steve.
of places.
Yeah, it's pulling from all kinds of places.
Don't forget the thing.
What? Oh, yes, the thing.
No, the thing is Clive Barker.
Yeah, the thing is Clive
Yeah.
Barker. On the 10th of November, be sure to tune into our Dungeons & Dragons show, Mercenaries of Mischief. We will be having on Dingo Doodles of YouTube fame. So she'll be should be in here playing the character Sips from her YouTube series. So that will be really cool. Come in and check that out.
And Sarah will be in full fangirl mode the whole
Full
time.
fangirl mode.
It's gonna be probably the quietest Gilbetta you've ever seen.
Just sitting in the corner going, "Ooh."
And then on the 14th, we'll be firing back up again with Clockwork Dominion. So definitely tune in then for more of me playing another character.
It's
Yeah. All right. Anyways,
Well, okay.
yeah, that's pretty good. All right, we're gonna go to break now. We're gonna have a little video. You'll see Baptiste. It'll be fun. Then we're back.
The door. Screw you, DM today. To hell with your stupid.
Thanks, Pops.
No problem there, Sonny. Welcome on back. Hope you enjoyed that little video. The real educational help you out.
Those weren't words. Those weren't words.
I mean,
they never are.
get the point across. That's what's important. I never say, hey. Skippity dot doop, dibbity dot dow. Now we're back. Dibbity dow.
Yes.
I got you, Marty. I got all of that, buddy. You and me drink at the same bar. I understand. You, me, and Guy. Right. Okay, we're back. Everybody seems to be more or less back in the squares in which they began. So we will just quickly run through the list again. My fellow storytellers, it completely changed. Baptiste has gotten much younger.
That it was so hot. That
And
wig was giving me
full
such a
sleeve tattoo
headache.
as well.
It's too warm.
Baptiste is no longer being played in costume, except for the great. Oh, and I just assumed that. Yeah, I just thought you were older than you were last week.
I didn't have enough time to shave my entire head.
Technically, he is. So.
I mean,
And
are we
then
all?
next in line we have Hannah playing Miss Ellie, who had a technical issue, but none of you saw it, so I probably shouldn't even said anything. Right at the far end, our regular benevolent GM, who's been a very benevolent player tonight, Puck, Lord of Chaos.
I'm on my best behavior.
He just wants to be invited back next week, and so far so good. And
gonna
our
shoot him.
regulars, we keep them on the bottom shelf because that's where you put the big strong blocks in a pyramid. Miss Sarah and Mr. Sky. And with that, back to Breakfast in Paradise, which sounds a lot calmer than what it currently is. Yes.
May I know we stumbled in and it was a little goofy, but may I that evening have a moment?
Of course. Yeah.
At one point, at some point in the night, whether she's at the bar by herself or the table is winding down or something like that, Baptiste would actually like to walk up next to Ellie when she's somewhat by herself.
Was this like last night?
The
Before this
night
happened?
the night where everybody showed up.
So yeah, basically we're
Unless-
changing the arrival time a little bit, but yeah.
If
Okay.
that's not possible, I'll wait a day.
Well, I think we're okay. You guys could have gotten back that evening just before going to bed, so yeah, and then had the race in the morning. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I'd grabbed my horse and was out shooting and just outside town.
Then I'll wait a day.
That's right.
Let's-
You weren't here. That's correct. So yes, we will have to make that wait. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, we'll wait a day. Mea culpa.
Before bed, Willie does have to do one thing.
Yep.
He orders 8 shots at the bar.
Okay.
Does a small salute, and then drinks each one of them, and then goes to bed.
Is there an identifiable emotion on his face when he does it?
It is
He
solemn.
said asking a leading question.
It's solemn. It's like a ritual. It's something he's done many times before,
Mhm.
but it is visibly to people who have been in the military. This is a salute to the fallen.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear to everybody.
I was gonna say because I'll roll for it. I've got scrutinize.
You can scrutinize all you want. You're probably going to be the only one who picks up on it.
It's clear
in
you're
fact,
drinking 2 people. Yeah.
At one point, Baptiste will be in the middle of a drink and make eye contact and like stop and pour that one drink out on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He sees you do that. He gives you a knowing nod about it and goes off to his room.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, after the foot race, we're back at breakfast. We're not making that foot race go away. That's not going.
No, that stays. Time can be wibbly wobbly, but that foot race is how we arrived.
Yep.
Which I actually love the idea that for Jet and Alice, like for everybody else, they see Baptiste in this moment that's just whimsy.
Yeah.
Yep. He's back from this incredible mission that really Jet's the only one that knows. Well, Ellie's got a pretty good idea.
Jet's just
She knows where
concerned.
Jet went, and then she knows that Baptiste went to find Jet and the doctor.
I imagine Alice has a notebook full of like day 27. Baptiste smiled. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He smiled. It's like question marks.
You just about ruined their computer. You just about spit-take their computer.
Vodka dries real fast.
Like I just imagine she's got this thing where it's like he did this today. What and then he did this and then he smiled. I haven't seen it since. Like that kind of a weird.
And yeah,
I saw
just
an
to
emotion.
add to that a little bit, Miss Alice, he's finally back. This man that you know a little bit more about than you did when he left, but also a little bit less.
Oh, right. You
And
know
he's
who
finally
his
back.
friends are.
You know 2 of his friends.
Yes, I know.
You also know what it says on his badge, and it's not what you thought it was.
No, I have a notebook full of stuff. Okay.
A real notebook. This is a Sarah notebook.
Yeah, it's both a little bit.
And the whole right side is all notes about Baptiste, and the whole left side just says, "You bastard, you bastard, you bastard, you bastard, you bastard."
And then there's also a page in the back that says "Ways to fuck with Ryan." And just, whoop.
Our guest room is always open.
I mean, it's okay. Does Ryan or not Ryan? Does Baptiste?
This is Ryan of which you speak.
Who's Ryan? Does Baptiste at breakfast? I assume we're all sitting around the table.
Oh, the next day he's the jovial qualities. That was for like an hour and a half the other night, and it was almost completely with this soldier. But the next day, all of that sort of jovialness it's kind of gone, and he's not this. He's not this. It's back to that sort of like very somber quality. Like it's perhaps actually jarring to Alice and maybe to anybody else. It's however they want to. I don't want to interpret your character's reactions.
Yeah.
But no, the next morning it's much more back to this sort of like very business-like person that he is.
So wait, I feel like we're all different places. You're still jovial though as you roll into the bar and you just asked to excuse yourself, right? Because if I'm correct, that's where we are right now, right?
The evening was the foot race, and then the next morning is
I thought
breakfast.
the foot
Yeah,
race was
we
in the morning.
modified the point of arrival slightly, basically.
Yeah.
So that happened last night, and then when he said, "Give me a couple
Gotcha.
minutes and I'll tell you," instead of that, he said, "Give me till morning and I'll tell you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine we didn't see him again after that.
Time keeps on skipping into the future.
Skip him.
Time relative.
Yeah. So we didn't see him again till morning, I imagine.
Yeah. And then this is that next morning now. The joviality is gone. The seriousness is back in the room.
Yeah, so I would assume there were maybe like an hour or two that was a Baptiste you were not used to, and then it's back to this sort of somber Baptiste that you've encountered before.
So breakfast is on the table with or without drinks as required.
So what is the standard breakfast configuration here?
This is bacon and eggs, basically.
Okay.
Half a dozen eggs and half a dozen big plates of food, heaping piles of hash browns and gravy and
Is
lots of
everyone
butter.
at a table together?
There's a couple tables in this, like you're basically in the restaurant that's part of the inn. And
Okay.
most mornings, these guys have sat around one table. It's getting kind of, there's 6 of you now, so you might have to pull a couple tables together.
All right.
Ellie's an expert at that. I'm sure she.
5 of you.
We'll just push some
Counted
tables
me.
together.
does it.
That's fine.
Yeah, just like with a party of 6.
Not just a 6. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
You got a 6 top.
Yeah.
Family's am I at work? What's happening?
That's fine. I'll just pull this together. That's whatever.
You
Coffee
have
and
no idea how
water,
close-
and we need a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sure. Drink the water. It's free. It doesn't can run up the tab.
We're
so you're,
gonna
You
need
have,
3
you have no
appetizers.
idea
Anyway,
how
sorry.
close
Wow.
I came to doing a one-shot based on servers. I'm still working.
Oh
on it.
man, I got plans.
Close.
I could tell you. Okay.
Too close to home.
we can. It's fine. We can do that.
All right. Well, great game, folks.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
It was funny.
So if they're all together, Willie's gonna go have a seat with everyone.
And just real quick, give us a physical description of Willie.
So Willie is wearing a cavalryman's uniform, clearly an officer of the Union Army. But the coat is unbuttoned. He's business casual. He keeps the saber with him at all times, and he's got a kind of the handlebar mustache that he goes with. His hair is whitening, and carries his sidearm and his Winchester repeating arm.
And you said he's in his mid-40s, right?
Yeah, mid-40s.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
that is what the rest of you see. I won't get the others to introduce themselves because I know
Alright.
you listen most nights, so you know what they look like.
Yeah.
We
You-
have
you pretend
we have
to listen at least.
We have the same gun.
Oh
Mine's
yeah.
just probably nicer.
Yeah.
Oh, don't start that fight because you're playing tops trumps rifles. There's a fella sitting over here next to me who's probably going to beat you both. Ellie's seen it. Wait a minute, that sounded filthy.
It occurred to me that I did not have an opportunity to properly introduce myself last night. I am Colonel William One-eyed Weston of the Union Cavalry, retired.
Oh crap! Damn it. Okay, when Alice hears that, under her breath, she says, she kind of looks at Baptiste and she says, "It's not the first William he's been friends with." And she's just, she's gone now. She's
I was
gone.
traveling towards your town in hopes of finding a bit of adventure because I find that retirement does not agree with me.
At,
Well, you
at the
certainly
risk of
picked the right
taking,
place.
I do hope that you are correct, miss. And I apologize, I did not get your name.
Name's Ellie.
Pleasure to meet you, Miss Ellie. Folks call me Willie. Or One-eyed Willie is my nickname, but that's just from squinting.
Son of a bitch. Really thought maybe. I should have known better.
You know who I am. And the rest of you all.
Do I recognize the dialect?
If you had to guess, you'd say he's probably Georgian.
Now this is a Kevin question.
Oh crap. Remember, I'm Canadian. I don't know a whole lot about your war.
My dad is the senator of Georgia.
Oh shit. That's
I know. I know.
Okay.
Spoiler fans.
Spoilers alert.
Okay, so yeah, the accent is the accent for sure.
So then whether this comes from Kevin or from Sean, do I know the city that he's from?
You're fairly certain he's not from a city.
So sort of a rural.
Yeah.
Rural accent.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. What's the last name?
Weston.
Weston. Colonel Weston from the Westons in the region just outside of I name a town.
Generic Georgian town.
Insert town name here.
Atlanta? Or
Right. No, I mean, to be fair,
yeah, you name it.
Just a
Formally.
little.
You could go Rome. Rome, Georgia is a thing.
I knew a number of the Westons just a couple of hours west of Atlanta. And, well, Colonel, they sounded an awful lot like you.
Well, that would be fair. I may be formally from there. However, that life has been left behind.
Well, I suppose that it takes an awful lot of conviction and moral fortitude to wear colors that are antithetical to that of everything you grew up with.
Occasionally you find yourself at a crossroads of opinions, and a man must forge his own path. And that is what
Well.
I've done at great personal cost.
I will accept that, respect it, and congratulate you from avoiding the word duty and bloodshed over breakfast. Could we get a couple of pots of coffee, ma'am?
That's the best idea I heard all morning.
The coffee's incoming. Baptiste, you have not given him your last name, but is it the same as your as the illustrious senator?
Yes.
Okay, but I know you have not yet given your last.
I actually, I think I did. I think I did when we
you
first
initially
met.
introduced yourself.
Actually,
Yeah.
so if he wants to figure it out now or roll for it or either way,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Give me there's an actual skill for this, and I've
Oh.
never used it.
Oh boy.
It's called home county.
Home
It's under
county.
knowledge,
oh shit, son.
and everybody gets it at a level 2.
Oh, well then.
So go ahead and roll me information home county to see if that name rings a bell.
Okay, it's not on my list. I got knowledge.
It
I
should
could
be under knowledge. Second
Area.
one
Oh,
down.
area knowledge. There we go. Home
Area
county.
knowledge, home county. Yeah. You recognize the last name.
But at a raise, does he recognize the other name associated with it?
At
'Cause I
this, I'm
want
going to
someone
say at this
to.
point. At this point, I'm going to say he recognizes the last name,
Okay.
and that person was the senator of their state
Okay.
a long time ago. Is that fair?
40 years.
40 years ago. Okay.
Yeah. So when I was a boy,
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
really like a boy, like 4
Yeah,
or 5.
yeah, like-
Your parents told you about the days that Saint-Aubert or Saint-Aubert?
Saint Laurent.
Saint Laurent.
Saint Armand.
Saint-Armand, yes, was the senator. So
yeah,
you at least recognize the name.
Willie's level of political interest varies from moment to moment.
Yeah. And considering
so,
you left
I mean,
there, it would have been.
Yeah, his general attitude is to each their own. He forges his path based on what he believes, but he's not going to. He bears no ill will to you if you have contrary beliefs to his.
Sure.
So this
fair
is
enough?
yeah. So this is the dynamic that's going on right now. Is that he understands that there's definitely some opposing ideals between the two of them, but he's like, well, you walk your own path, and I'll walk mine.
Yeah.
Sure. It might not be clear what those ideals are, but yeah,
Oh, yeah,
there's a friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for
No,
sure.
he feels it.
And not to mention Miss Alice sitting over here just chewing her lip, like the one lip's gone
Alice is
completely.
literally like, Alice literally has a notebook and she's like,
Northerner.
he's like, he said
Northerner from
Georgia.
Georgia.
Baptiste
This
knows
is
about
weird. I
Georgia.
don't
She writes it
understand.
down and like,
Your friends are real quiet.
I prefer the term observant, sir, but the name's Jet. I'm something in these parts, and I
It's a
just
pleasure to meet you, Jet. Why don't you call me Willie?
Jet, you currently have 2 badges on. Is that correct?
I thought I just subbed out for the Ghost Steel one. I would have
Okay,
kept the other
right.
like on the inside,
one's
but
on the
they're
inside,
still
so yeah.
there.
But there's
And-
very definitely a deputy's badge on
Oh.
Jet.
So I take note of that. Ah, deputy. Tell me, son, which law is more important to you? The ones given or your own?
I would say, sir, that the ones that are given are to be considered, but I believe you always have to look inside to know what's right.
I like this boy.
And also, I don't give a hell about the war, so no, I'm kidding.
Let's add a third side to this fight.
I like this boy already.
Uh,
And how about you with the notebook?
Miss Alice O'Hare.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, Miss Alice O'Hare.
You damn well bet it is. And that's all she says.
Yeah, she's just
That's it.
she's doing that reporter thing where she's looking at you, but she's writing over here.
Yeah. 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 Yep.
Friendly.
And with that,
Mm-hmm,
breakfast, coffee, and all comes to an end.
All right.
And the day opens before you. Lucius comes downstairs just long enough to grab a plate and a cup and mutter something about a shovel. I'm cutting. I need 6 more pieces and back up the stairs into his room.
What's
He's
the
all
story
covered
on
in-
Pale and Gruesome?
I
He's all
would like
covered
to
in
talk
grease
to
and dirt.
Lucius, actually. No.
Why not? I played you last week.
Yeah, right. Alice is just when he
challenging.
comes down, Alice will kind of watch him and be like, because she knows the tinkering eye, right?
Yeah.
She's
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
she knows.
yeah. He's gone. He's
Yeah.
he's muttering to himself, and
Yeah.
he's writing. He's got his quill pen. He's writing on his palm because he didn't bring any paper with him. But he's deep in the plan.
Which
Yeah,
I will
she knows the
actually.
tinkering.
He's gonna be so happy that he's gonna have to pick because he came to me with like 6 different projects, and I just
Yeah.
gave him 5
And as
hours,
soon
and I was
as-
gonna have to tell me what he did. So-
And as soon as that comes down and he goes back, Alice is gonna say, "So, are you ever gonna tell us where you've been and what you've been doing for the past couple of days?" She's looking at Baptiste.
And I'm just dead staring.
And to be fair, Jet just got back to just yesterday.
There's a
Yeah, but I've
fight.
already talked to Jet.
She also doesn't care about
It's been a whole thing with Jet.
Not, I did see you were my story at first, and now she's thinking that Baptiste is the story. So she's kind of shifted focus a
Moved
little bit.
on.
I see. It's fine.
There are
Scott-
times when a man feels a specific calling. It took me out of town, and it has brought me back.
And the
To,
doctor?
I would hesitantly say, brought me back to friends.
That's an awfully familiar term.
Well, you are the 5 most familiar people I know in paradise.
What happened with the doctor? You seem to. I know that she was off that way. You were gesturing to her former place of work last night.
Yeah. It would seem that our medical friend met with an unfortunate comeuppance that has been many decades in the making. An illness of the spirit tore its way quite violently out of her on the road. May God have mercy on us soul.
Would this have anything to do with all the dead bodies and the symbols I found in her secret lair under the doctor's office?
a lair, a lair, and any form of symbology is certainly news to my ears, and something I would be quite interested in laying my own personal eyes upon. But I think at this point it is safe to say, in all brevity, Miss Alice, yes.
Well, I would gladly take you and show you. This time, at least I know before I go down there that I need to cover the bottom of my dress and my shoes, because my poor red dress has been all but ruined by that place under her office.
And the moment she stops, because Jet's being just polite enough not to cut her off, because I've been staring at Baptiste. I didn't even pay attention to that. As soon as she finishes, I'm like, at your hands, and I'm looking dead at him. And I'm looking to see if he's lying. I'm looking to see what he says.
I see this tension, and I actually interrupt. I turn to Jet and I say, the person in question was deceased when we came upon her.
But had you been there already? And I'm still looking at Baptiste.
Marshal Kevin, should we roll anything before anything gets said?
Do you plan on lying to him?
No.
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 In that case, let's just role play. Forget those sheets. That's it for other people.
My good deputy, if I had happened upon the doctor while she was still, I say this hesitantly, amongst the living, I would have ripped that creature out of her and expedited her shuffling off this mortal coil in doing so, just as I would do to any individual that I thought was a herald. But fortunately for this conversation, and unfortunately for our future exploitations, it seems that the beast left her before I happened upon the scene.
And this is an interesting thing I have to ask. Marshal Kevin.
Yep.
I know we're at a
Shoot Jet. No.
At this point, Willie's going to back you up because he's the only military guy here.
I does this conflict what he said he would have done if he would have seen the doctor? Because I know there's this horrible juxtaposition of you were doing him last week and then now
Nope.
you're back.
No, this.
Does this, like, in my mind, is that what I believed he would have done anyway? Because from what I heard, it sounded like he wasn't going to do that, or at least that's
Given
what I read.
what you know of him, what he's told you he would do fits.
Mhm.
It's maybe not what you had asked him to do, or maybe even what you understood he agreed to. But you can understand how, even though he said to you he would offer her forgiveness, his definition of that might be considerably different than yours. But what you do absolutely believe to be true is that she was dead when he got there.
Yeah, no, that makes
And
sense.
the phrase torn out of her body, given what you experienced, the conversation between Raven and the creature that was inside the doctor, might ring some bells.
At that, then I'm just gonna look at him and mull over it for a second. I believe you. You seem to be one of the most honest men I've ever met. I don't know if I like you, but I trust you. but I would have handled it very differently. And I have a friend to go talk to. And unless anybody stops him or tries to say anything, it's just a very slow, like tip of the hat, getting up and walking out the front door. It's not like angry. It's just like, I understand where we are. I'm not comfortable or happy about it, but I get it. And I got to go do something.
Miss
boy.
Ellie, you know exactly who he's going to talk to.
Jet, deputy.
Father.
Talking is one thing, and confiding is another. I certainly understand, my friend. If you do not like me, we have known each other but a few short days. But be careful who it is you confide in. Or perhaps ignore my advice. Either way, we don't have to like each other to hope for the best for each other.
I agree. And I'd tell you the same, but I'd be preaching to the choir.
Oh, I never was much one for singing.
And at that, if nothing else is said, I'm out.
Turns around and walks out the door.
Does he walk out the front door?
Oh, it's so fucking cool, Jet!
The swinging doors, yeah.
You know what? Willie's gonna walk out the front doors with him.
Woo!
Okay.
Willie's got, excuse me, just a moment. And he walks outside and he walks out next to Jeff, takes a nice breath of morning air. You're like, well, I don't know where you're headed off to, but I was hoping to maybe find a more comfortable, friendly place to get to myself. Perhaps a cave full of bears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, we
Full of bears.
we were not a group of people who came together of our own vocation. It's just kind of happened. We've all kind of been stuck here.
Well, son, everybody's got to walk their own path. Ain't none of us ready to judge them for doing it. I live by a simple code. If somebody draws on me, I draw on them. Other than that, I live by my own code. You live by your own code, and hopefully never the twain shall meet. But it's awful thick in there, so maybe you're going someplace thinner. Mind if I tag along?
You can certainly try, sir. I don't know if you know much about, what would I even call it? I don't know if you know much about the,
He slaps the hand on his back. Come on, let's go take a look at it. We'll figure out a name together.
Oh, all right. And, I'm trying to find, you know how you said I felt the least connected, like it was completely cut off to Raven when I was down in that cave. I'm heading somewhere where in my mind I feel like I have felt the strongest connection, or would.
Oh, I was thinking, where would that be? But it's obvious. It's the sheriff's office,
All right, and that's where we're headed.
which is basically just across the street. This is where you first met her. It's where she flew through the window. It's where she showed you how to self-harm to heal. So it's got to be there.
That makes sense.
You head across the street there. Gonna real quick cut back into the place. There are now two young ladies and a very old man sitting in a restaurant with a bunch of empty plates in front of them. Half a cup of coffee each. The scratching of a quill pen on a notebook drowning out the complete silence that's otherwise going on.
If I may. Because I know I just had a whole thing with looking
We were
around.
here last week. We're making up for lost time. It's all good.
Yeah.
Diva. No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
just trying. I know.
We
No,
got the next 2 weeks
trying
to go
not
too,
I'm
so-
trying not to.
Al's been waiting.
No, this no. Poor Sarah's been sending me PMs for 2 weeks. Please do this scene.
Looking around, is there a calendar on the wall?
Sure.
Just so I know what day it is. What day is it of the month and
It
the
is
date?
June 30th, Thursday.
June 30th.
It is now.
So looking around, taking a look at the calendar, and the both of you probably noticed this. Baptiste takes a look at the calendar and orders. He takes a he just pays a full $1 for a bottle of whiskey. And pours quite a bit of it in his coffee and drinks it. And stands up, and it's the sort of thing where he stands up and buttons his jacket, like it's a very formal thing. He says, Miss Alice, I do beg your pardon for a few moments, but if I may, if you seem quite capable in the room. Miss Ellie, I know that there has been tension between the two of us, but if you would do me the honor of a simple walk through the thoroughfare of the town with a poor old man, 20 minutes of your time, please.
After what happened last time, you want to walk with me on the outskirts of the town?
No, ma'am. The middle of town. Hands to myself.
I just kind of like, she thinks for a minute, and then she stands up and she puts her hand on her pistol and just kind of has it sitting there, and she says, as long as your hand doesn't touch this and I'm in control of mine, very well. Middle of town.
He unbuckles his gun belt and lays it on the table. Miss Alice, of this entire town full of rapscallions, I would trust you to look after these irons. If you would, please. And he takes off his gun belt. He takes off a third gun that is not in the gun belt. Takes out a Bowie knife and takes out a regular knife.
And 8 more guns.
And puts them all on the table.
And
Takes
the
out
knife folds out into 3 other knives.
Right?
But like, I mean, and it's not showy whatsoever. It's just he disarms in front of a bartender and 3 ladies of working statute. like anybody that's there, he just is. Yep. He is a 90-year-old man in a suit.
Yep.
Okay.
At this point, and gestures towards the door. After you, Miss Ellie.
I just kind of look at the table and just, Father, I've served many a kind. I've hung around with the deputy for however long it's been, and I've seen many hunters who do it for a living, but I can't say I've ever seen anyone as armed as you, Father. And I actually gesture him and like, please, after you.
He actually takes off his duster. Like, you can see every, 110 pounds of him. He actually looks as frail as you could imagine, like a 90-year-old man looking.
Yep.
And he walks out, and he holds the saloon door open for you.
It's hard to do those, but yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super awkward, but he holds it open.
Okay, I'll walk out with them.
And out you go.
As soon as they leave, I'm going through everything.
I knew that.
I'll send you a list of what everything looks like.
Like fucking photographs and diagrams are getting drawn.
She lays it on the paper and traces it. Like.
No, I will send you a super detailed list of what everything looks like. Honestly,
The big thing though is the one thing we can drop right now for our audience members is everything has a name. Everything has a word on it that means something.
And
What's on the Bowie knife?
I don't. I'm gonna find out.
David.
So very specifically, there's a black revolver with ghost metal on it that's named Forgiveness. There's a pearl and ivory revolver without ghost metal that's named Redemption. There's a single action gun named Sermon. There's a Winchester named Justice. And there is a Bowie knife that
is named David. Come on.
No, it says J. Bowie on the handle.
God, this guy knows.
Carved in. Yeah.
Like it's
It's
not
a signature.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Made by. Yeah.
Okay, so now he knows
That's really
Bowie
interesting,
and
actually,
he knows
Puma knives do
Wild
that.
Bill.
So it's
Who is
David
this
Bowie.
wow.
There's a custom knife company called Puma where the knives are all handmade, and if the artisan feels they've done a particularly good job, they sign the box on the inside, and you can't tell till you bought it. So, yeah, that made me smile.
Did he leave his duster too, or did he take it with him?
He leaves it laying against a fuck. Sorry. Sorry. I said it.
You said it twice.
I knew the moment he left that it was just going to be like, oh God, let me.
That was
Yeah.
Yep.
He's so preoccupied what's going on with Ellie.
Yep.
was
No.
Alice is so like
It's
she's
and
like,
Kevin,
why is he
it's
so concerned
it's
with Ellie, but she's
it's-
like, I'm gonna go through his shit and figure
Well,
that out
what
later.
I'm
is
going
on
to
the
do is
duster.
because I want people to come back and watch next week, so we're not going to tell anybody until the start of next week.
so
Well, some nice stuff you had is going to be completely disassembled and cataloged when you get back.
So it's probably a good 10 minutes of just walking quietly next to each other through town. And Baptiste.
What's your name?
Baptiste. Baptiste in a pocket of his vest. He brings out just it's not nice. It's not nice at all. It's made out of brass, but it's a necklace. And he pulls it out and he says, Miss Ellie, I understand if you would say no, and I won't ask to put it on you, but would you mind just for the duration of our perambulation, would you mind wearing this? And he holds it out, and he's holding it in a way that you can take it without touching his hand.
I don't think it's outside of my boundaries to ask why.
It would be a favor to an old man.
The same old man who, after I clearly asked for boundaries, refused them. So, I would ask again, why? I am giving you your second chance. I am not letting you in. Give me a reason to.
It's a very singular day, and you remind me of someone. And she can't wear it.
I take it from him. Don't make me regret this. And I'll just put it on and then keep walking and not look at him.
Probably another 10 minutes goes by. You know, I haven't always been as old as I am now. How long have you worked in the saloon there?
The one in Paradise?
For a start, yes.
I helped out the owner the night we came. When he was still around.
What was it that you did before you arrived here in Paradise? I apologize. I assumed that you were from this here town.
No, this town is probably the strangest thing that has ever happened to me.
I take that as a compliment.
I did much of what you would expect. I bartended, got by.
It takes a strong woman to get by, especially out west.
Well, I didn't get here by not being strong, so.
It's good to know a woman of your age can be strong these days.
You said I reminded you of someone.
Oh, the memory of someone, perhaps.
Tell me about her.
Oh, I wish I could, Miss Ellie. I knew her for a day.
Not many men would shed tears over a woman he knows for a day.
Oh, it would be so lovely if she'd become a woman.
I won't pry, but I will say serving drinks isn't the only thing I'm good at. Sometimes it's easier to talk to someone that you don't know well about things that are hard to get out. But sometimes that's exactly what you need. I know that I trust that you're not a bad man. Sometimes figuring out exactly who you want to be and who you want to be to other people, you have to let them in, and you have to let yourself feel.
A good man.
May I ask her name?
Her mother's name was Elena. And her name for about one day, some 25 years ago today, was Ellie. Her mother died in childbirth. She lived for about a day after. Today. It's her birthday. My Ellie.
She was your daughter.
I was trying to help. I'm sorry.
I know. You
It
went
won't.
about it in the wrong way, but I know you did it for the right reasons. Otherwise, I wouldn't be out here with you right now. And for what it's worth, as a daughter named Ellie with quite the bastard of a father, I'm sure you would have been far better to yours. You seem to care. That's the most important thing.
Well, thank you for saying so. With all respect, I'll disagree. It is a handsome necklace on you, Miss Ellie. It would honor me if you would choose to keep it.
Not usually the jewelry type, but I suppose a gift. This is one I won't turn down. And at this point, I've holstered my pistol.
And your fingers come up and touch the necklace. And Baptiste, you can't see it. It's just a wall of water.
I'm gonna
And that. Oh,
I'm gonna take a breath and then put my hand on his shoulder.
When you touch his shoulder, it's a few seconds, and he's a bag of bones. And there's a moment where he steps just a half step so that you can't comfortably touch his shoulder. And his voice is a little harder. He says, by the way, Miss Ellie, you have a tendency to hold your breath before you squeeze the trigger. It will throw off your aim. And the rest of the walk is in silence.
with that, we will drop the curtain on this particular episode of Poison Paradise. And I got nothing smarmy to say at the end of this one. Thank you, guys. That was amazing. Thank you.
Well, holy shit! If that ain't a Mercy episode for the ages, I don't know what does. That goes in the catalog. Woo!
Print it.
Hey, join the high five for joining the Have Cried on Stream and character.
Wow.
Character team.
Yeah. Boy, howdy.
Hannah, thank you.
We're just gonna
You
let
didn't
that
know what
one
you were
dangle.
getting into, but thank you.
I'm so fucking mad right now. I've got your duster.
I have got, oh man, not only did we end on a truly spectacular scene, and Ryan, I have one question. Did you know before tonight that was going to happen?
Yeah, 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay. Still unbelievable.
When I
yes,
messaged you and said, "Do we need to talk about this?"
Right, and
first.
I went just bring it up in game. Well, that thank you for not sharing that with me, because that was amazing to watch. Hannah, that's 2 in 2 weeks. That is your, just so you know, that is, both of you guys are getting a legendship for that. And Hannah, that's 2 in 2 weeks. Nicely done. And I think you just froze.
And Hannah's
actually.
frozen, right? With the
At that
smiling
exact
face.
moment,
Right, with
she's
the
gone.
smiling
Look
face.
at the face. It's
She
perfect,
just
right?
froze.
The goddamn
Oh.
lore drop ate up the bandwidth.
It did. It did. I got his fucking duster. I'm about to go through that shit.
Man, I am so lucky, because not only did we get to end on that, I get to start next week with not 1, not 2, but 3 cliffhangers.
Oh boy.
All of them. And I also just realized that I somehow have to get Baptiste the hell out of town before you guys
2
get back to
weeks.
the inn.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, and I'll be back.
I got it. I already got it figured out. So yes, yeah.
He challenges me to another race, and when he gets around the corner, I stop. Then I just go back.
Oh, I didn't shoot Sean. Damn it.
Oh, so this is double difficult because I have to somehow get Baptiste back into that restaurant, get his stuff, and get out without Miss Alice tearing his face off and asking him 1,000 questions.
Good luck with that.
God, I've been waiting
So
for
yes,
so long.
Ryan, if you can send Sarah that list of all the weapons and such, plus what else she finds inside your duster, we can just work with that from next week. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other than that, I know our fine producer, director, and otherwise talented individual who sees in at least 8 dimensions would like to have a word. Marty, over to you.
Oh yeah, we got all kinds of things going on. You know, we got I'm overwhelmed.
Okay, Sunday and Monday we do D&D.
Yeah,
I'm in a glass
With our
cage of
fine
emotion.
I got it.
Here,
Jonathan's here. Yeah, so we do D&D, and if you enjoyed tonight, this is a good taste of the kind of stuff you'll get on D&D. Hold on, Ellie, I can fix your situation. I hope. Oh, well, that's not any better.
We have 2 hands.
Anyways,
That's okay.
So we do that. If you enjoyed what happened tonight, you know, this is pretty good flavor of the kind of content we put out. So be sure to check out YouTube to catch out the back catalog, get all caught up on this show and our others. One of those shows is Clockwork Dominion. We are so blessed to have the creator of the game running that one, giving an interesting perspective. Is it homebrew? Is it official content? It's both. I don't know. We've got a special guest star coming up on November 10th, Dingo Doodles. For those of you who caught our Joe Cat episode of Too Many Warlocks, this is going to be Dingo Doodles on Mercs of Mischief. And she is also going to be playing a character from her videos, the character from her videos, if you will, Sips, the Wild Magic Sorcerer. So that'll be fun. We've got the special Halloween one-shot coming up this week, also going to be run by Kevin in his own system that he has been developing called Duality, the most simplified universal system that he's going to slowly start to prove one world at a time can be used in any game. And we do giveaways every 100 followers. So if you have been following along, we're 20-something away from the next giveaway. That'll be that wonderful spell book, spell card holder that Sean has. And after that, we have another one of the miniature hex chests from Elderwood Academy, complete with miniature dice, so you can keep your dice on your keychain at all times. And we are working on something special for the 1,000th followers giveaway. So stay tuned to see if we can get that together in time. But that's all going to depend on how quickly you get your friends over here to watch this. So tell your friends, and be sure to check out our Discord, our YouTube, and our Patreon, where at the hero level, $25, you can play at Puck's Table. Special gift. There's still slots open available for that. And I think that's everything we have for now. So, Kevin, close on up.
Oh, man, with a big thank you to all the storytellers here tonight. I mean, come on. No one person could tell this tale. So very quickly, I'm going to go through them and give them a second or two or a minute or two to tell us a little bit about what else they do when they're not out here playing Deadlands with us. Let's just work on down the line. Start with Father Baptiste Saint-Laurent, otherwise known as Ryan from Roll for Initiative. What are you guys up to this week? I saw a great game review.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we just talked about Suro. We just did a review of Suro, which, I mean, the game's been out for forever, but we've never talked about it. And so we went and talked about why we loved it so much. Dawn, even before that one, Dawn just talked about the fact she wrapped up our final episode of a complete homebrew world and campaign that she came up with. So definitely check out that episode. It's a really good one. Personally, I'm directing 12th Night for the university I work at right now. And it's so much fun. It's set in Cuba in the 1970s, and so that's an absolute blast. And I'm having so much fun with my students working on it. And I mean, other than that, it's just finding stuff to talk about and continuing to make content and say this is why we love the community we're a part of. And honestly, so much of it is nights like tonight, you know. Baptiste is a character, but Baptiste can't exist without Kevin running it, and without Jet challenging him, and without Ellie, without Hannah being like, yeah, let's do this, and contributing to that moment. I mean, I love all of you for helping make these moments real, and all of you for watching these moments become real in the audience.
And that was a wonderful moment. I'm going to spoil it ever so slightly by letting you know that chat has just corrected you. The final wrapping up of the campaign will actually be on Thursday.
Oh no!
Sacrilege!
It's coming.
Sacrilege!
This is in the future.
I'm just waiting for the door behind you.
Oh,
to
and by the
blast
chat,
open.
you mean my wife in the chat telling me I was wrong.
Yes, hidden off stage. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm waiting for the door behind you to open and you to be corrected in person as well.
I just successfully dated this video, so there's that.
Yep.
Done.
Moving briefly down or quickly down the line, Hannah, we still haven't figured out anything for you to do when you're not doing this.
No, I do kind of odd things. I am an aspiring actress, but I live in a very small community, so it's not really doing too much. I'm busy with
Hey, chat. She says aspiring actress.
Yeah, you're no longer just aspiring. You're just doing it now.
Yeah, but I am a morning news reporter for a radio station, so that takes up a lot of time.
I'll bet it does. Yeah. I think we're going to do I'm going to make you do a how to do deep emotional videos with people you just met.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to make you do that video for YouTube.
My campaigns that I do with my friends are all goofy and silly, and then I come here with people I've never met before, and you all try to kill me, literally, like pretty much every
Welcome to the Mercenaries of Mischief.
Welcome to the table. Welcome to the Mercs of Mischief.
That's how we do.
I personally am so happy we brought you on board. Let's continue the mush. Let's move down the line. Speaking of mush, one of my favorite mushy people, one of the people that messes with my head every Monday night, with Sarah's head every Sunday night, with Skylar's head 7 nights a week because he can't leave this alone.
He is not mushy. He is cold.
Huck, Lord of Chaos, who refers to himself as a benevolent dungeon master, and I mocked him for that for some time, but it is true. He has not killed us more times than he has killed us, which makes him benevolent.
It's not untrue.
It's like being on that side of the table, buddy.
I always enjoy a chance to play. Yeah, so it's always good to slip into a character and actually try something out. Especially, I haven't. Willie started out as a starship captain in another RPG that I played, so it was kind of fun to bring him into this setup.
Now, for those that haven't seen you play a character before, especially on this channel, there is. I don't think it's unfair to say that there is a tendency in some of your characters to be a little off the wall and odd.
Yeah.
This one, I am really, really interested in seeing where we go with this. I like Colonel Willie. He's got some stuff to him that I'm really looking to see you playing out. So,
look, the characters always have a joke baked in. And with Willie, the joke isn't in the personality, it's just in the name.
Yes. And which is why I'm looking forward to seeing this personality. So that's going to be great fun. Speaking of personalities, can I make a segue? Miss Alice, you look so frustrated.
I'm so mad. I have my hands on his duster, and I have to wait a week to.
So for the third time, if I'm not
pockets.
mistaken, for the third time, you have complete access to Baptiste's stuff and no access to Baptiste. So
I
I'm waiting for the hate mail. But what else are we doing besides sending me hate mail for the next 3 weeks?
It's driving me nuts.
It's coming.
Well, I mostly I'm also like Ellie, an aspiring actress. I don't know where she is. She's right above me. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I also live in a small community, so I just want to say I feel you on that. But so this is mostly what I do. I have a YouTube series that I was in that was called Uncovering Arcane. You can YouTube that. And you can find me on Twitter, Nerd Narrative. I have all the other social medias, but that's the one that I use most, which still isn't a lot.
Very, very much go and watch her and our fine friend Puck play on the 14th of November is now the next game of Clockwork Dominion.
Yep.
It is.
Watch real close. He said, not spoiling anything.
Yeah. Some fun
Real
stuff.
close.
I love that game.
Speaking of spoilers, I don't know. That's a terrible segue, but it's all I could come up with. Way down there in the far corner, as far away from me as possible, is our very own Sky, our YouTube maestro. Yeah, the man who's putting it all on YouTube. Our producer, director, man you can't see, Jonathan, does it all for us live here on Twitch. And then Sky takes that material and gets rid of all the boring stuff and turns it into YouTube content. By boring stuff, I usually mean the halftime when we're all just staring at the screen doing nothing. What else are we up to recently? I don't know, major changes in your life?
I mean, I'm married now, but I mean,
Okay, there is that, right?
No, I mean,
but other than that, it's still I'm trying to show everybody that you can still be a good guy and necromance every Monday, and then other than that, it's just, we have an awesome YouTube. You should really go check it out. And if you really want to see Puck play an interesting character under Marshal Kevin, it's a weird way of saying it, but go check out Gee's Thieving Bastards, or is it Kevin's Thieving Bastards?
No, it's Geese. Yep.
It's Gee's,
No,
and
it's Geese.
it's on our YouTube, and it is. Just go watch it, please. I'll start laughing if I get too far.
Just don't eat before or during the show. It just
that's more typical of the kind of characters.
That is, yes. If you're wondering
It
what I
was
was
very
talking about
gross.
tonight. And with that, one final thank you to the man in the corner that nobody can see, Mad Maker. You make this possible. Our producer, director, sound man behind the scenes. Thank you very
I'm
much.
here to help.
And the man who has Marty and
Fucking
Rolda?
callbacks.
Is that Rolda?
That's Rolda.
Rolda.
That's Rolda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he has. He's he's producing the show with a handful of very odd creatures in his room. So give
Yeah.
the man a break.
I
Yeah.
plugged
Around
in
with
all
the
the cables.
Voices in his head.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes they get out. And
Sometimes.
with that, everybody, thank you all so much. Wonderful playing with you. Those that are not going to be here next week, we will see you when you get back. Those that are going to be here next week, we finally get to see inside his duster.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so mad that I
And
don't want
with
to wait a
I
week.
grab my duster before I leave.
No,
yeah.
no.
Fucking yoink.
She's got 15 more minutes with your duster. You're going to take it with you when you come back for your gun.
And he
more minutes
specifically said that like the walk was at least half an hour. So Alice has half an hour
got
to
time.
expertly look at everything.
Everything's going to be completely
that
disassembled and
sucks,
cataloged.
but I'll honor it. It's canon, but it blows.
You're going to come back and it's going to be CSI fucking paradise in there. It's going to be disassembled.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
dusting
wait.
for prints.
But if she doesn't believe in magic, she's at a -4 to see magic.
Oh.
Ooh, woo.
Oh, I'm going to have fun with this. I know you're gone, but I am
So
going to have
mad.
fun.
I can feel her ready to explode.
The person I feel bad for is the next person that she's going to be in the game with. So sorry about that on Sunday, Puck. We gotta set this-
No, that's fine.
Somebody somewhere is going to pay for Miss
She's just
Alice's
going to
raid.
turn into a bear and murder more cultists. It'll be fine.
And with that, and all those callbacks to all of our other shows, anybody who's still watching should go and watch all those other shows and ours. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your Halloween. And I'll shoot you next week.
Now
And I-
press the button. Yes, now.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we raid.
But the loot only works if you're listening. It's the softest and sweetest of songs. It has 15 strings you can hear while I sing. So shut the hell up and sit down. The